Welcome to the Regional Cultural Fund information video about projects with an estimated total cost below $250,000. This session is aimed at giving potential applicants an overview of how to apply to Round 2 for projects with a total cost under $250,000. There are 3 videos available on our website to assist you in compiling the application that your category suits best. If you have already viewed our general information video, you will know that the Regional Cultural Fund category that your project fits into. If you have not viewed general information, then leave this video now and view general information. My name is Sally and Tracy is here as well. We're from the Regional Cultural Fund office. And throughout the video that you're listening to, we'll refer to the Regional Cultural Fund as the RCF. We work out of Sydney and there are 4 staff administering the Regional Cultural Fund Round 2. Today we will cover what you can see on the screen. If your project is below $250,000 estimated total project cost, keep listening. If your project is above that cost, please watch the video related to projects above $250,000. In this video, we'll be going through the subjects that you see on the list: application overview, project plan overview, including case for change, capacity to deliver, value for money and budget, and engagement and reach. The bulk of this presentation is about how you fill in the project plan template. But when it comes to the budget for your project, we're going to skip over into the Smarty Grants application form, which is where the main detailed project budget is that the assessors will be using to appraise your application. Reference material for this session. Throughout this session, we will be referring to 3 pieces of essential information: the project plan template, the assessment guidance for Round 2, and the budget sections of the Smarty Grants application form, which are sections 6 and 7 in Smarty Grants. We recommend pause the video now and make sure you have them all on hand to follow along with. If you have not registered for Smarty Grants, you should do so now and view the application form for projects with an ETC, or estimated total project cost, under $250,000. Using the mandatory project plan. The purpose of the project plan is for the assessment panel to understand your project. It is also a tool for you to plan for the successful delivery of your project. The quality and attention to detail of your project plan will determine how well your application scores in the assessment process. If your application is successful, you will be referring back to this project plan throughout the planning and delivery of your project. If you are successful, keep in mind your payment schedule will be based on the key milestones in the project plan. Assessment guidance sheet. Please note that the sections of the project plan template correlate exactly to the Regional Cultural Fund assessment guidance sheet, which you can see on your screen. We recommend that you constantly refer to this document, particularly columns 2 and 3, when planning and shaping your project. Columns 2 and 3 give you guidance on how to address the criteria, section 1 to 4, on your project plan. This assessment guidance sheet is downloadable from our website. Make sure you download the one for projects under $250,000. The project plan, section 1, case for change. The case for change is selling your idea and why it needs to happen. The response here should identify how the proposed project on completion will achieve the Regional Cultural Fund objectives, fulfil the identified needs, and deliver social and economic benefits. Make sure your response to this section covers all the points listed in the assessment guidance sheet that we just showed you. Case for change, section 1. The section 1 in the project plan template has 3 parts: goal statement, strategic alignment, and alternative approaches. In this slide, we're referring to number 1, goal statement. The goal statement defines the scope of what your project will deliver and for what cost. The goal statement should be a 30-second summary, the pitch you might use to sell your project if you only had a few minutes to persuade someone to invest in your idea. This is sometimes called an executive summary. Identifying your objectives are an important part of your plan, and you will need to identify how your objectives align with the RCF objectives. Next, we'll walk you through a methodology called SMART that can help you to identify your objectives. SMART can help you articulate your objectives in your goal statement. A few tips. S is for specific. Be specific, don't be vague or simplistic. M is for measurable. Ensure your objectives are tied to measurable outcomes. For example, the project goal may be to build an extension to the art gallery. The measurable success of this could be that X people attended, Y artists were involved, and Z amount of revenue was created. Achievable is A. Set realistic expectations and try to avoid overly optimistic estimations of revenue, sales, timeframes and costs. R for relevant. Objectives must be relevant to the RCF objectives. If you haven't watched the general information video on our website, we suggest you do that to learn more about the objectives. The next slide that we look at in this presentation will look at objectives in a little more depth. T is for time-bound. Give a clear indication of when the objective will be achieved. Make sure you allow for time constraints such as the end of financial year, holiday periods and such. Also ensure you allow extra time for unseen events. Sections 1.2 and 1.3. In section 1.2, in the case for change, you'll be asked about strategic alignment. Begin with what the current situation is, which is often called the base case. You need to outline the problem you're trying to resolve here. E.g., our building was built in 1988 and it no longer conforms to disability access standards, meaning our large elderly population are unable to come to performances. Once the base case is established, describe how your project will meet the need or gap that currently exists in the community. For example, the project is to upgrade the theatre and breakout areas to be disability access friendly. This will allow the elderly and people with mobility issues to come to our theatre and engage with performance arts. Then draw this all together by outlining how your project aligns with the RCF objectives and other state, government or local government plans, priorities and strategies. Your council's community strategic plan is a great place to start. Use this section to highlight some of the social and economic impacts of your project. Over in section 1.3 in the project plan template, we look at alternative approaches. The purpose of this section is for you to show assessors that your project is the best way to achieve your objectives and those of the RCF, and that you've explored all options. Briefly outline other options that could deliver the same objectives and reasons that these options have been rejected in favour of your project. For example, we considered 2 other types of air conditioning systems, but found that the one we selected provided the best value for money and achieves the level of climate control needed in a modern art gallery. Section 2, capacity to deliver. In section 2, you can demonstrate that you understand all the work that needs to be done to achieve your project's objectives and that you have taken the necessary steps to ensure you are ready to deliver the project. This includes resources, time, risk and process management. Section 2.1. We are now going to review the process to complete the milestone table in section 2.1 of the project plan template. Key things you need to know are milestones, sequencing and estimated duration are crucial to demonstrating that you've thought of all of the steps and activities needed to deliver your project. The estimated cost in this table should correspond to the budget in section 3 of the project plan and to the budget that you submit into Smarty Grants. We'll talk about that in a minute. The milestone table should be a realistic work schedule that will be used to manage progress of the project and ensure it finishes on time and within budget. Note, these milestones need to be as accurate as possible because they will be used to govern payments if your application is successful. Importantly, remember that the total estimated cost of all of your milestones, all of the milestones that you enter here, must be the same as the total estimated project capital costs in section 7 of the Smarty Grants application. We'll jump over to Smarty Grants in a minute to make that a little bit more clear. Section 2.2, project benefits. In section 2.2, you might justify why your project should receive funding. List all the benefits that will be created as a result of the project. Think of the benefits that are more than the ones direct to your audience and organisation. What are the broader or indirect benefits of your projects, for example? Wherever possible, be specific and quantify benefits in dollars and number of people included in a beneficiary group. If benefits are qualitative, include these too, but make them clear. For example, we will be able to receive high-quality touring exhibitions from the Art Gallery of New South Wales when we have upgraded our gallery and lighting and temperature control. The public will be exposed to nationally significant pieces that we could not show without the upgrade. Risk management. Section 2.3. Risk management is basically maximising good luck and minimising bad luck. The purpose of the risk analysis is to demonstrate that you have considered risks to your project and possible risk mitigation strategies or ways to deal with risks. List the key risks that could impact your project and describe the actions that will be used to manage these risks. Describe how these could be prevented or dealt with if they do occur. Some examples of risks include cost blowouts, schedule and timeframes being affected by external factors such as weather, public relations, safety, technical and environmental. The risk matrix shown is used here to assign the risk rating in the fourth column of the table: low, medium, high and extreme. For example, if a risk event, i.e. weather event, interrupts construction and sets back the completion date, meaning that the venue won't be open for a key event, the likelihood of this happening may be unlikely, but the impact may be major. The resulting risk rating is high. These are risks that will occur if you are successful in receiving funding, not if you don't. Section 2.4, non-financial assumptions. Non-financial assumptions are basically the things you need beyond the RCF funding to make your project happen. They could be planning approvals, such as development application approvals, other grant applications being confirmed, final decisions of councils or boards, heritage considerations, ownership or security of tenure of your site, written agreements with collaborators. It's okay if all of these things haven't occurred yet, but you need to demonstrate what other factors are involved in your project. However, the more of these that you have confirmed at the time of submitting will assist the panel to understand how well your project has been crafted and if it has progressed at all. Section 2.5, governance. There is a table in Section 2.5 for you to list your governance arrangements. You are asked here to detail the roles and responsibilities allocated to everyone involved in the project. For example, is there a steering committee or company board? Who are the other individuals and groups that will provide guidance, authority, input and support? Make sure you identify who the project manager is, who will be responsible for approving costs. It is wise here to identify the key people have the appropriate expertise for their role in the project. Hint: you can upload a brief CV for key project team members to demonstrate that they have the appropriate expertise. Remember, this is funding for cultural works, so there must be appropriate industry experience or expertise or advice indicated here. Section 3, value for money. We begin to look here at money and budgets. In this section, you will demonstrate that you have allocated sufficient resources to deliver your project, you can manage the costs to ensure your project represents value for money, and that the project, once complete, is sustainable into the future. Once again, ensure your responses to this section covers all of the points listed in the Regional Cultural Fund Guidelines and Guidance Sheet, available to download on the RCF website. I'm going to leave you for a minute and introduce Tracy, who's going to take you out of this template and into Smarty Grants to talk about the budget forms in Smarty Grants.
Hi everybody. Now we're going to skip out of the project plan and into a Smarty Grants application. We are doing this because the Smarty Grants application budget is the one the panel will assess the application on. The figures you enter here must match those that you put in your project plan. The budget is in section 7 and 8 of the Smarty Grants form. If you want to look into that budget page now and you're in Smarty Grants application form, hit pause and open them up. They come back to us. So you can see on the screen the 4 tables. So these tables are capital income, capital expenditure, ongoing operational income, ongoing operational expenditure, and you must populate all 4. So a few notes. The budget tables automatically calculate. And if your budgets don't balance, the Smarty Grants form will not let you progress. This is where you must demonstrate to assessors that your project is resourced during the project phase and also beyond the project phase. And lastly, there are some more hints on the Smarty Grants budget pages about how to enter your information. So we will now step through each budget table. And remember, any figures that you enter here should correlate to figures that you present in your project plan. And we'll say this a lot because it's a common mistake. So, budget capital income. This is the money you are gathering together to spend on the project. Remember to add the amount you're requesting in this grant application at the line item Regional Cultural Fund, this grant. Applicants will need to demonstrate that they maximise other co-contribution opportunities, including support from local government, the Australian government, or other industry contributions or partnerships. Co-contributions can be in cash or in kind. Refer to your funding guidelines for further information. So budget capital expenditure. This is a table where you show the panel what you are spending the income or your money on. In this section, you should detail line items of the entire project as clearly as possible. Avoid rolling multiple items into one line, as this makes it difficult for the assessment panel to understand the costs. Now you can add rows at the bottom of this table if more are needed by pressing the little plus there on the right hand side of the form. And reflect both cash and in-kind items if they have been reflected in income table above. The total of this budget, and we'll say it again, total of this budget must match the total indicated in section 2.1 of your project milestones section of your project plan. So your budget, ongoing operational income. This section is where you must demonstrate your project is viable into the future, that is funded and resourced appropriately. These tables should demonstrate the estimated annual cost of ongoing operation of your facility or project. So this may include resourcing, staff, operational budgets, maintenance and utilities, for example. The Regional Cultural Fund does not fund ongoing costs beyond the life of the project. You've got to be able to do this yourself. Again, refer to our guidelines for further information. Now your income. This might include your annual budget allocation for staff, your programming and maintenance revenue from sales and increase to income in later years as a result of the project, as well as your organisation's in-kind support. So ongoing operational expenditure is the same. You must demonstrate the project can be resourced into the future. Here is where you list your annual outgoings, such as your rent, repairs, maintenance, service, fees, management, staffing costs and programming costs. Try to add as much detail as possible so the assessors can get a sense of how the facility will operate into the future. So, we're finished with the money. We're going to step out of the project, out of Smarty Grants and back into the project plan template. So press pause and get your things organised. The engagement and reach response section for the project plan is where you demonstrate your community support for the project and your community's confidence in the benefits expected as a result of the project. This will be something like your local Aboriginal community uses the facility, so you will be in regular contact with their elders or land council about the project's progress. And once again, please make sure your response to this section covers all the points listed in the guidelines to ensure your response meets the requirements. 4.1 is a communication plan, and the purpose of the communication plan is to identify the people that could impact or be impacted by a project, engage them to, keep them informed, such as the last example in the previous slide, manage their expectations and ensure that their involvement is as positive and beneficial as possible. Ensuring the timely and appropriate planning, collection, creation, distribution and monitoring of the program information is super important for this section. 4.2 is about community support. And the response to this section should show community and your stakeholder views have been considered in developing the project, so key stakeholders are identified, consulted, and their opinions incorporated into plans. You've expected recreational and educational benefits for the community as a result of delivering a project, and the community stakeholders should support the project and agree on the expected benefits. Applicants are recommended to provide evidence of support from as many key stakeholder groups as possible and relevant. The support must be for the project, not for your organisation in general. Examples of evidence include, but are not limited to, letters of support from any stakeholders. We want to hear from your community why your project needs to be funded and how these groups, these stakeholders work with you already or could work with you in the future. Confirmation letters for financial or in-kind support are really important as well. You include petitions, surveys, public consultation documents, newspaper articles, visitor feedback forms, and all your Facebook's comments, reviews, or anything on social media. We've come to the end of our project plan, so let me tell you where we're at. So applications opened on Sunday, the 1st of July 2018, and applications will close at midday, 12 p.m, Monday, the 21st of September 2018. After the round closes, all the applications will be collated by staff here, but the independent panel of industry peers will assess the applications, and the announcements are expected to be made in late 2018. So that brings our overview of the application process, project plan and budget to an end. However, this is not the only support you can access. Now, a quick reminder that we have teleconferences, and they will be up on our website, so head back there and check for dates, times and how to sign up. You can sign up for our email dates via our website also, so make sure you do that. Of course, you can phone or email from any time, or 9 till 5, for support from the RCF team. And again, continue to check our website for further support, materials and information. So Sally and I would like to say thank you for listening and bearing with us, and good luck with your application.